Yeah. Huh? Where we at, man? Where we at? We are at what? Cosmic Mind UV is where? Is everywhere you need to be, man. I was telling you, I said, man, I got the interviews for him, man. I got the interviews lined up, but this one right here, I'm so honored. I hold this Nehru in the high regard because he's doing something monumental. Hold on, let me turn this down. He's doing something monumental. He's doing something monumental. But without further ado, Q, please introduce yourself and let's get it. What you got, Nehru?
What's good, Black family? You already know what time it is. Keep in the building. XyayX, the movement. Here to talk about what we got going on in the community, education, Black empowerment, social justice, STEM, anything else I can bring to the table. Bah! What's good, y'all?
Peace, King. Just like I said, just introduce and how did you come up with the idea originally about STEM? Like what sparked the inspiration and the motivation to go in that direction?
My pops. You know, I was always pushed into STEM, just not in the conventional sense. And yeah, I would just say my father, and just carrying on from what he was trying to do with me, and maybe in things that he wasn't able to do, you know, shortcomings, so on and so forth. As a parent, when I started homeschooling my children, that was just like, all right, I gotta introduce them into as much education as possible, centered around STEM. And as I started developing myself as a parent, and then, you know, there's a whole story behind it, but we had a little small space, and as parents started to hear about what we had going on in the community, other homeschooling parents started to come in, and on Facebook and other social media platforms, people started to hear about us. And from there, it was like, I don't want to put I want my child to be with your children. And it just kept growing. And after, you know, different interviews and started promoting, it continued to grow. And the idea of what we wanted to offer in terms of STEM, in terms of African-centered education, Black liberation education, because each year, each iteration, each year just keeps developing better and better. And so where we are now.
Absolutely, Nehru. Gratitude. Once again, I'm honored, man. I've been bragging on you, Nehru, man. I've been telling people on fan base about you, Nehru. Hey, you'll do great over there with your movement that you have on fan base, man. It's melanated on, man. I would love to see y'all get a profile over there, King. You feel me? You heard about fan base?
You know, on Instagram, you know, I pull up. I be trying to keep it with social media. It's just a lot of work, you know that.
Word.
It's a lot.
Word. I saw the recent science fair. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, B, that was fire. It was very small this time around, unfortunately. However, the projects were probably our most advantageous and most far-reaching in terms of fields of STEM. Students were making just an array of projects that made the level of productivity from the prior year or the prior science fair to this one, not even a year, is like night and day. And so just being proud as an educator and a leader and also as a parent for my students, seeing what they've done is really dope. And knowing that this is just like where we are now, from smart cane to hydraulic bridges, infusion pumps, automated cars, HVAC projects, there's just a multitude of fields, you know, even our environmental engineering room and the kits that we're putting together for that in there, in terms of being able to launch those in gardens in the neighboring areas. You know, just the level of, I would say, just the level of experience that we're having now with the students is extremely high. And just, yeah, I'm happy about it. So the spring science fair will be promoted way better, and we want to get other people involved. It's really challenging being kind of like an isolated group of people in the Black world. I don't want to say as we're the only ones, but it damn sure feels like it with many of our students. It's not easy finding students and people that's into the type of STEM and the level of STEM that we are into.
Absolutely. What diversity did you go through along your road to this successful place, as far as most don't view you as the typical look for STEM programs, or maybe an institution of this fashion, an institute of this fashion. What diversity did you go through on the way to where you are now?
We mean like challenges?
Yes.
Or
Yep.
tons of them. You know, it's business. You know, every day is a challenge. You know, keeping up with the books, keeping up with finances. You know, staffing, consistent work on the curriculum, always being understaffed, underfunded. You know, at this point, we do have a lot of resources in terms of STEM and things like that, but you know, having the staff and the funding, keeping up with the expenses, those are very much challenging. Now, the philosophical views that people have and so on and so forth, that's, you know, for the most part meaninless to me, you know, whatever. You know, you get what I'm appreciative of people like you and the people that do support, and I focus on those people. And you could have nobody in your corner. You know, you could have nobody supporting, you could have nobody actually looking at your business as something that they would ever spend a dollar with. And so for us to have people all over the country and people that have been in different countries who have sought out and actively, you know, invested into their child's education through us, you know, is a testimony to what we're accomplishing and what we're going to continue to accomplish.
Absolutely. Gratitude for that. So what has been some of what what's some of your surprise students as far as creations that has surprised you thus far?
It's a lot. The students, they make stuff. In California, one of our students, we had it's not everybody has 3D printers. And so we told the students online to use popsicle sticks or cardboard, you know, just to show that you can understand the process of using the stepper motors and the servo motors, and with the microcontroller and the joystick. And two students kind of went really far in with it, and their designs of the arms, and that was the parameters we gave them. So they have three. Most of them had 3 motors, 2 servo motors, and 1 stepper motor. I believe most of them had that in their kits, and so they were able to make all different types of arrangements. And then one of the same students made we also told them that he has several stepper motors, and so not stepper motors, servo motors, and so he was able to make a ultrasonic radar sensor. But the kit he made for it and the way he did the mode with the joystick and using as many of the options available with the tools that he had was really great to see. I didn't expect him to do that. There's levels to it. Sometimes even the parents, they don't know what, like, we have a real strong popsicle structural engineering component in our program. And some parents, they get it and they don't get it. But the tower project is really great because the bridges as well, because you get to, you know, see how much what the load is the bridge can maintain, can handle and bear. However, the tower, when the parents stand on their child's tower, it's really like a moment for the student and for the parent to see, like, my child made this and they did this with some popsicle sticks and glue. And just imagine what else you can build that can hold people up, and it just builds a mindset within the parent and the child, and just a realization of the capabilities that they're actually learning. And so I love to see that, you know, repeated, you know, with all of our new students. A lot of times students who come from the public school or new homeschool students, they've never made many of these projects. And so when they actually get it done right and see the capabilities of it, you know, that is something that I definitely enjoy continuously.
Absolutely. Okay, speaking on the parents, how vital have they been to your process overall?
They're the backbone. They're the backbone of you know, shout out to every single parent that's ever been involved. You know, they're the backbone of the program. You know, it's an honor to be able to be in children's lives like this. And it's different from the public school. Parents, you know, kind of say they don't have a choice. However, parents are choosing to work in our program, work with us. And, you know, our prices, we adjust the price. So parents pay whatever they could afford for the most part. And they consistently find a way to pay whatever they could afford. And that means a lot, you know. So I definitely, we wouldn't be here and be able to be consistently growing, even as slow as it may seem to some people, or as minimal as it may seem to some. It is still a consistent growth. And so I would definitely attribute that growth to the parents.
Absolutely. So what exactly? Okay, first off, can you tell us a little bit about, or can you talk a little bit about the new location in Kinston?
Yes, so that is through my brother, not my brother in life, but a brother hit me up on Instagram by the name of Swab, and he and his family actually owned the property and had a school there prior. And he saw one of the videos I had with the students in our location prior to this one in Brooklyn. And he was like, yo, you should come down here, have a space. I thought he was BSing, and full blown location in North Carolina there. You know, it's sitting there. And so right now it's just a challenge of resources, time, and materials to get it up, you know, get the actual business up and running there. There's not as many people in the specific city that we're in Kinston. However, it is a reality that's just sitting there waiting to be developed. Me getting the new location in Brooklyn at the same time, and the challenge of, you know, getting that one off the ground and getting this one off the ground at the same time is extremely difficult. However, that is, you know, what we sign up for. And that's, you know, what we're doing now. So I'm always recruiting people. If you want to be involved in North Carolina and or Brooklyn or both, please hit us up. We're definitely looking for people to, you know, help take this to the next level.
Gratitude to the participation from EmpressStar. The question is on the screen: how has the children's confidence been boosted since they have been learning engineering and different STEM?
Confidence, we stress the metacognitive skill set and metacognition with the students. And so them being aware that they should be thinking about how they think and approach life and their learning and any project it's a characteristic that we want to develop in them. So each child understands the process of STEM differently in our space. New students are, it's when that's why the bridges projects, and we have like scaffold projects, because the multitude of our students, they're very advanced. And so if you come around them, they're like, I can't keep up, and they get lost. And then they see like the little bridges and small projects, like I'm doing this, all this stuff. But you have to develop the skill set to be able to produce. And unfortunately, that is not something that's really typically found with children. And so their confidence is delicately developed, to be very honest, because you can have a new student who jumps into the program and they may make a bridge, and it may be their first time ever making something, and which is beautiful. However, the bridge may look like crap, and we have to tell them that, like, that doesn't look good. You have to do it over again. And depending on the child's prior experience with iterative processes and also the critique of the project that they're doing, first knowing that there's an iterative process associated with the projects, and then understanding that critique is required for the iterative process. And iterative means that each step, you're going to do something better and make it better and better and better. Or just the process of developing your own skill set, which requires that you do something over and over and over. So for example, one of our students in California, actually the sister, the other one, she made an infusion pump, and she's been working on that for almost 2 years. And she's almost done every project in the program. And when she finally got the infusion pump working this year, she's really excited and she's ready for college. And this is going to be her last year with us. And so right now we're like, hey, we got to put videos to that, promote it, talk about it, because she wants to go into the medical field as well. And I really would like to push her into medical technology. But through the iterative process and over time, now she actually understands that this entire process is needed to be able to produce, and she's really appreciative of it. And her confidence now is like all the way out the roof. And so, and then we also have children in the building. So the children in the building, it's a challenge with their confidence because it's such an isolated world. And I'm just being very candid with y'all. People don't really know how to embrace STEM, you know, outside of like volcano projects and things like that. So when they see a girl making a robotic arm, it's like, okay. And so their confidence becomes mirrored in the response of their community. And that's something that's part of the reason why we did the science fair, because we want the community to embrace their accomplishments. So it also furthers the confidence that we're developing. If they don't have anybody that even resonates with what they're doing, it's just like, I'm just doing a project for Mr. Q, and then he shuts up and leaves me alone. And so the intrinsic motivation that we want them to have that's associated with, and forgive me for being long-winded, just let me know, but the intrinsic motivation.
No, this your show now, Haru. Go ahead.
With the confidence, like we're seeing with it's something that has to get, our process is scaffold. So it's over time, and you definitely see it. It's just what stage the child is at. You know, if a student comes in, I can't even say it depends on the parent. It depends on the resources. Because some students don't have the materials. And then if they do, they don't have all the materials. They may not have anybody at home with them to help make the project. And so it takes a little bit more catering to them. But once they get the project done, and that's what most project-based learning, and that's why project-based learning is such a sought after approach to education, is because of the process itself develops confidence, but the process is also the skill set.
Absolutely. How important is it? Well, first, okay, can STEM or institutions, etc., like yours, can it replace traditional schooling in the sense that most people are used to?
Yes.
Okay. And would you encourage more parents to go towards STEM instead of the traditional way?
Well, STEM education is found in traditional schooling. It's just a priority of the school. And
Okay.
Many STEM is just science, technology, engineering, mathematics. And so depending on like how the school administrators and leadership understand the culture of STEM would be ultimately how the student is going to embrace it in their school. However, it is a priority in the country. I think almost every state has a STEM priority right now, or as an initiative for their schools. I think that's pretty much agreed upon. It's just, I think the challenge is that the schools don't have engineers. The schools don't have they don't have people who understand the technology. There's a school that wants us to work with them, and they bought a $28,000 3D printer, and they've never opened it out the box. They don't know how to use it. And I understand that somebody once bought us a 3D printer I'd say about 6-7 years ago, and it sat in the box for about a year. I'm not gonna lie. We didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know what to do with it. But once we got it open, and I was like, all right, you have to learn this skill. And all right, now that we do it, now we have, I don't know, we have 12, we have a lot of 3D printers in here. We're planning on getting a lot more. And so that's one of the challenges in the schools. So and then the disconnect between the industry, the schools, the education, the curriculum, the resources, you know, and then public schools approach to, or the bureaucratical approach that public schools must deal with spending, creates a real challenge for how they organize their STEM programs as well. So you find a total difference in private schools and charter schools or non-traditional schools.
Word. Another question, gratitude, Nehru, from EmpressStar. Do you face a lot of pushback with teaching and developing the students from outside sources?
No.
Okay.
In the
Okay.
early process, in the early years, yeah, but not any. Like I'm really experienced. I'm actually going to school, back to school for education. We have a strong engineering team. Our advisors, we have a strong advisory team. Like I pull from anybody that's like quality, has a quality education, a strong skill set. You know, it's not my opinion. I'm pulling from people who have, like I said, these the background that validates what they're stating. Next question.
Absolute.
It said from.
Absolute.
Okay, my bad.
Oh, no worries, Nehru. It's okay. The next question: from your experience, do you feel like all children should have some form of STEM?
Yes, it's
And okay, go ahead, go ahead.
it's involved in, again, it's just a challenge. If you have a kindergarten teacher who only went to school for early childhood education, you know, what can you really expect them outside of going to YouTube? It's really up to the creativity of the teacher if they don't have a background in like STEM. Like, I'm obsessed with STEM. My pops was an inventor. My sister went to school for biochemistry. My first, studies was astrophysics and astronomy. Like I'm obsessed with science and stuff like that. So, but engineering is a whole nother, animal. And for the Black community, being centered on solutions, that requires, a certain type of mindset. And engineering mindset is centered on solutions, and the productivity associated with it, the thought process, the skill sets, the foundating information that's needed outside of going to school to be a doctor. There's really no equivalent in the level of information and education that engineers and doctors have. So that to me should be like the height or the standard to which, that we're pushing our students to be at. At least there, and then from there, if they can't make it at these levels, not to say it like that, you have a world of trades available to you now. You could be a nurse, you could be a nurse technician, a medical technician, you could be a carpenter, you could be a construction worker, electrician, you could do product design, electrical design, circuit design. It's a world of things available to you, as long as you know that you've developed your foundation in a way that's going to make you highly productive. For us, like my focus through all of the not everything going on, real life world stuff, is finding ways to, like for me, I'm in school I'm double majored, but my astrophysics and I'm doing school mechanical engineering and technology and stuff. And so the math that, like when you go to regular schools, a lot of the math teachers who teach, maybe algebra and trigonometry or algebra 2, algebra 1, or even middle school math, they are not typically math majors. And I'm not a math major and they're not engineering majors. And so their connectivity to how math is supposed to be entwined into physics and into engineering is really just not there. And so one of my focuses is really aligning as much as possible the algebraic understanding, the understanding of graphing, coordinate planes, rate of change, the relationships that are expressed through equations, and how those equations are expressed in the geometric shapes and the products that we use in engineering. And then just finding ways to teach that as early as possible, just as early as possible, having them understand that if your child is on Roblox, they're already using Cartesian planes. They're already understanding geometric shapes that they're using. What's the little I forgot the other one where they make the houses, but they make it out of blocks. I forgot the name of that game. My son plays that as well. But they have these understandings of three-dimensional planes. Get them on Tinkercad. Every parent should have their child on Tinkercad and just get them designing things, not little toys and figurines, but actual structures, and understanding the anatomy of geometric shapes and the anatomy of how these shapes, or rather how these shapes are related to the structures that we see in the everyday world. And just trying to find ways to connect it as much as possible. Yep. Even just like from the graphic organizers, like literally that's about this whole week's process is just figuring out like how can we scaffold as much as possible to calculus and early as possible, and we want the kids to be as close as possible to calculus. That's the goal. Calculus and physics, high levels of chemical understanding of chemistry, these things is the tools that's going to be the foundation of any science that they go into. And we want them to be learning that from early. Many of the curriculums that schools follow in terms of the standards that school follow for science, whether be it next generation. I'm not the biggest fan of next generation standards, nor am I a fan of, core curriculum doesn't have it. Some states, North Carolina's science curriculum is not bad. I'm not a fan of next generation in New York City's. I forgot the name of the other one. I align with the AP curriculum. I suggest that any parent, they should just, immediately look up the AP curriculum and align their child with that. If their school doesn't offer it, go to the school board and demand that they align it with that. You want early introduction to these classes, especially Black students. This means a lot in the later years, in the early years of college, but their later years in development. So just learning random scientific things. They should be learning, the specific arrangement of topics, the way they teach it in high school or college for chemistry. They should be learning, the word stoichiometry. They should be learning that there's a balance. They should be learning that there's an empirical formula. They should be learning that there's kinematics. Like, don't wait till they get to 12th grade to hear, kinematic for the first time. They should be seeing the equation from force as young as possible. Let them see distance equations and speed equations and hear the word rotational motion from early, linear motion, linear equations. Just keep saying these things to them, and that resonates and develops their, aptitude, or rather their capacity in STEM.
Absolutely. I'm glad you went there. So what age would you, what number, would be 4 or 5, would you go ahead and expose, them to it? And of course it depends on the child, but
STEM is the how you rationalize STEM is the person. A spoon is a lever. It's just the educator and the person that knows it can find it in everything. How you understand rate of change, how you understand, relationships, you can find and express it in anything. It's really, my pops used to yell out gravity. I remember that as young as possible. When we used to hold our food, and we hold a plate like this, he'd be like, gravity, and that, is however you can as a parent, just involve it into their language, let them hear it.
No doubt. It's AB curriculum. Okay.
AP,
also
advanced placement. You have
advanced placement. Okay.
Advanced placement is a college board curriculum. We've adopted completely this year. Well, we've embedded it into our core topics, just to be clear. Not all of our subjects are, well, for the most part, the core topics, our STEM classes are aligned with the international STEM standards and the industry, but it's very challenging with STEM. So we're very much between industry and first year of college, but depending on the college. And then I'm looking at this whole genius level approach to the stuff right now, that it's, the STEM, with AI and the tools that this generation has, is really just about intrinsic motivation, honestly. That's the confidence, the reward, and how they understand that intrinsically in this generation is the ultimate tool. That's my as a parent, that is my sole focus right now with my sons. There's the intrinsic motivation, how to get into their wake up and designing, and I don't want to say that word designing, but helping them design their reality are centered around them being productive. And that's the key right now, because their generation is different. Like, I'm like, my 7-year-old is like, he's struggling with reading. I have to get his phonics together. But his understanding of the computer world and his friends is mind-boggling to me. I'm talking about, they go through tabs, copy, paste. They can use 3D printing. There's just like, it's just finding a way to get them to go from what they would do in Roblox to find a skin, to find like the things that's hidden in roadblocks, just finding a way to get into that energy and applying it to the full world of STEM. You know, some students have that naturally, which we recognize, but most students don't. And like my sons don't have that naturally. And so if you're like me as a parent, you know, they'll do it, they love it, they're pushed into it, but who knows what they would have been doing if I didn't push them into it. You know, there's some students who wake up and no matter what their parents are saying, like, I'm going to be an Einstein, I'm going to be, you know, whatever it is, electrical engineer or a basketball player, whatever it is. I think I answered that question. Might have drifted a little bit.
Nah, no worries, Nehru. Okay, so look, check it. As far as two-part question, as far as are you hiring for certain positions, and as well, are you seeking certain partnerships and or sponsorships?
I would love to hire. However, our budget is missing at least 4 letters. So it's mostly just get. You know, but yeah. You can email us and we can do as best as we can. We're always looking for people to be involved. That is definitely it's just the reality of, you know, the business in terms of budget. And to your second question, partnerships, yes, we are actively looking for partnerships. Last year, or this year rather, we did a shout out to Sister Michelle. She pushed us heavily and pushed me heavily and focused on partnerships. We actually got some decent ones set up right now. And so this year in 2026, we want to make sure that we have some we want to be the bragging side of the partnerships. I want to say that, but we're raw focus on partnerships. The challenge though is that our mission is centered on Black people, and in the political climate, that is not something that resonates with most people. So that's a challenge for us the most. So just do know that, like, you know, I'm trying to tread. I don't know. That's a conversation that I don't like to have, and my ego gets kind of mixed up in it. But and that's in its tangents, and it's aligned with the partnership question because of our mission. And although it, you know, the seeing the kids make projects and talk about Black power and education and math and all that stuff sounds good. Once they hear that my priority and focus is on the Black community, that's my focus. I don't really have any other purpose in life but focusing on my Black community, my family, and advancing the Black community. And so that's not something easy for most people to dance with. You know what I mean? It sounds good, but, you know, yeah, just to say the least, you know, it's not something that's easy to people. You know? But that's I'll stay there with the partnerships.
Okay. So what would be the easiest way for people to reach out to you for partnerships and I guess have some sort of business meeting with you or different things of that nature?
You have info at XyayX Institute. What is it, info, right? I got like a million emails. It's info at the XyayX Institute or info at XyayXtheMovement.org. Both of them are .org.
Okay. Okay. Now, as far as facilitating the other location, you know, I guess what will be needed? I guess the same thing for the most part in that sense. Yes. To be able to facilitate that more easier for yourself, so it's not as much stress for you to be having to travel to both and different things of that nature.
I'm with the traveling, but in order to travel, I got to be able to leave Brooklyn. So it's either I got somebody helping me here or somebody on site there. It's, you know, it's either one works the same. You know, finding good people that's willing to be involved, that can be dedicated, and unfortunately, to say it like that, who can afford to be involved. We don't have it. I mean, I'm just being real with y'all. I ain't. You know, it's a budget. We're fighting to get, struggling to get, and when we get it, you'll get it. You know, as fast as we get it, you know, we get $1 million, we get a decent donation, we get some large donations. It's gonna happen. However, you know, there are people who volunteer and have been consistent volunteers, and shout out to them who have been, you know, in our corner for the longest, since the beginning. Like Brother Damo, there's people that's definitely been around for a long time. But, you know, just want to be very clear on that. Somebody comes up and No, I sent my resume. I needed, $50,000 a year. I'm like, it's wrong address.
No question. So ideally, 5 years down the road, where would you want your institute to be?
Nobody ever asked me the want question. You threw me off with that one. Most people say, where do you see? You asked me want. That's a different.
Okay. Well, what do you see?
I'm glad you asked me that one. That threw my
cool.
You threw me in I just started seeing like what. And nobody ever asked me what do I want to be in 5 years. That's a whole. Nobody asked me that one. Let's see. Realistically speaking, 5 years. I got to be realistic. $25,000 square feet of space in Brooklyn, either lease to own or in financing or lease, with a
I'm glad I can make you think that, Haru.
Yeah, I'm in the numbers. I want to say a 200% turnover on rent. I want to whatever, and then on a lease at that month that's 30. Yeah, at least that's at least, but at least 6 times the lease amount in revenue, contractual revenue, no grants, just straight contractual revenue, not including grants. Published inventions or research. And I would like to have that space in at least 3 spots. I would at least have 1 in the Caribbean, 3 in America, or at least 2 to 3 in America. Yeah, 1 down south, 1 Midwest, maybe in the West as well. Yeah, I can see that. That's like 1 point.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say, would you consider Africa as a destination somewhere in Africa as well, Nehru? I mean, just we doing the ideal thing.
Oh yes, definitely. I've been trying to get something in Ghana. I would do something in Nigeria, Benin. I'm, wherever I can get to Black Power, I'm let's go. That's always my motto. If you got a location in somewhere in Texas right now, like I'll figure it out. Like that's the part. Let's figure it out. You know what I mean? So I'm always with the figure out part.
Absolutely. Now you when we initially talked, you said current events. Is there any current events that that are concerning you or of a pressing importance to you?
The attack on Black as a identifier for servicing. I think that's something that Black people need to get in front of immediately. Donald Trump's regime's removal of racial-based servicing is a slap in the face to Black people, based off of all modern data and consistent data since the creation of the data bureaus in America. Black people have been specifically suffering because of their race, and to remove the need for race-based servicing is crazy. And that's where when you ask me the program of partnerships, my ego is like, I need to even get a little bit more aggressive with the conversation, because that's like white people were specifically subjugating Black people to hardships and shorts and all types of injustices because of their race. And to hear America just sing and dance away race-based servicing because it's not in the 14th Amendment, which is crazy to me. That is that is really crazy to me, and that just sets a tone for many of the other conversations going on. I guess geopolitically in the Black world, but that to me would be like the priority focus for us.
Now, as far as the process, as far as learning and different things of that nature, the different things that's learned at your institute, can a student take this anywhere they go as far as a different skill or craft? Can they just take it anywhere in the world, and would it translate easy?
Yes, I am braggingly stating that our students are the most, I want to say, apt for the current STEM environment, and especially with the refinements we're doing this year. So why do I say that? So we offer structural and mechanical engineering from earlier years. So they get the foundation of that. They get the foundation of computer and electrical technology. Then in the early years, that's K through third, then fourth through eighth, they get introduced to physical computing, network engineering. Also, the younger ages get introduced to CAD. We introduce them to CAD, computer-aided design. We also introduce them to AI and digital media. We introduce them to engineering design, as well as they don't get electrical engineering that part at their age. Physical and computing is combined with electrical engineering. In the high school ages, they get electrical engineering, computer animated design, engineering design, electrical engineering, AI and digital media, and network engineering. And we're going to be refining those even more through the potential partnerships that we're focused on this year. I don't want to say, I could say some of the organizations, but how do I word it? There's a disconnect between what typically happens in schools and what the industry wants. And so I want to make sure our students are immediately aligned with being able to go straight into an industry, or being having a resume with skills that are already desired in the industry. Even though you may not have the experience, they're going to look at you and say, well, you understand microcontrollers, you understand PLCs, you understand C++, Python, HTML, you have a basic understanding of LLMs, you have an understanding of generative text AIs, you understand AI, you understand mechanical engineering, you understand how to read schematics, you understand CAD. You may not have experience on SolidWorks or something, but you understand the technical design. You show that you produced things before. You also have a mechanical understanding. You understand machines, you understand codes, you understand that the connection between input and output, you understand MATLAB. They're going to look at you and say, you're highly, we can do something with you. And because they're so young, you can pay them a third of what you would pay somebody in a college degree, and they're going to be happy with that bread, at 17, 18 years old, and they can develop into being that high paid person, and everybody wins. So
Watch this. Well, watch this now, Haru. Now watch this law of attraction. What's the ideal realistic amount that you need to facilitate everything you want to do in both facilities right now? What would be the ideal amount?
I would say anywhere 2 to 5 mil.
Okay, 2 to 5 mil. Okay. So if you had a investor look at this in the future or the near future, and you had a business pitch for them, what would it sound like?
It's challenging because we're a nonprofit, so we don't really do the investor component. Removing a nonprofit publicly in the language, I don't. How do I word it without having IRS potentially bother me? Nonprofits, you don't get a return on. There's no return on an investment in a nonprofit. It is something that would be an impact. How will we measure the impact that you will be able to have with a $2 million community investment? Of course, you would have that deduction, and depending on the relationship we have with the city. I'm sure the city and us would create some type of perks because of the ability to create jobs and workforce development, and also infrastructural development and research and development. And so those three sectors are huge. And we can go into the agricultural, we can go into the data mining, data management, data acquisition through sensors and sensor applications, IoT, industrial IoT, Internet of Things. This is everything that, like, $1 million here, I'm turning Brownsville into a tech village. Like, I'm just like, North Carolina would be a tech village. I literally could turn the entire Kinston into a tech city. Like, I'm not even, I would Debo the entire town. Like, with $1 million, yeah, we would take over Kinston. I'm not even lying. Like, almost there's 19,000 people, I think 10,000 students. We would probably take over the 10,000. Every single student would be able to be affected in that town. Increasing the educational reading, productivity would be immediately attached to the town. We would be able to thrust ourselves into industries. They have space. They have DARPA down there with Space Force. We'll be able to launch our rocket program there. We'd immediately be able to get into agricultural, AI and agriculture with drones, immediately thrusting ourselves into that one, also with the 3D applications. We'd also be able to get into defense contracts with mobile applications, weaponry design, AI design, security, cybersecurity. Like, it would be articulated in terms of impact and the quantifiable aspect of terms of, like, this is what you're going to get out of this money, and how to, that's the return on the community. That's what I would tell the mayor. That's what I would tell the president. I'm telling anybody this, that I would guarantee that. Yeah, I can guarantee that. It would only that would happen. Yeah, I would have to die in order for me not to, make that happen.
So for and from the investor standpoint, it would be more of an environmental return than a profit as far as money or financial return.
The monetary return on a nonprofit doesn't work like that. So if there was a loan, if they want to say there's a loan in that sense, if there's room for other types of arrangements with the business, but that would be something I would have to discuss with the person, and depending on, and an attorney or something. I don't, when it comes to IRS and the public, I don't play with those things. Like, the language have to be very precise. So,
okay.
Like, it's a nonprofit, you know what I mean? Like, if we was a regular corporation, we can say that, like, could we create another corporation and then speak on that corporation? Could we expand the ideas into another corporation that could either be property or asset of the nonprofit that you could be a part of? There's things that can be done creatively outside of the nonprofit world, but as is with the current corporation, that wouldn't be something that would be feasible or allowable.
Also, in other aspects, are you looking for lunch ladies? Are you looking for security guards? I mean, literally, what other departments do you need? You mean administrative?
Sweep the floor, make a toy, walk with the kids, match the door, whatever you can name it. We definitely in the space of needing it. I ain't even gonna cap. Like, that's whatever personnel. I typically bring that up first. Donations, we need donations, but if you in Brooklyn area, if you can pop up once a week, twice a week, if you go with kids and we check your background, all that good stuff, yeah, we need you. You know what I mean? If you're in North Carolina, let's work. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in Brooklyn. I'm gonna join on the phone so y'all can see the space and stuff. But we're here making it work, and then I'm busting my butt. So if you any help works. I just keep it as simple as that.
You say we can get a tour of the facility, Nehru?
Yeah, I'm gonna join with you let me know. I'll join on my phone and stuff when I walk through.
Yeah, absolutely. They definitely want to see that. Gratitude for the opportunity.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Thank you for the interview.
As far as equipment, what do you need more of?
I would say keep it donations. our stuff is real. I mean, right now we would need. I would say if you want to buy some Raspberry Pis, but I would say just not to sound like that, because the stuff as I walk through, we do very like refined parts, very specific types of parts, and you wouldn't. It's sensors and wires and microcontrollers, and if you want to get us some 3D printers, Bamboo A1s, we can always use some more 3D printers, a CNC machine. If you want to ball out, if you want to ball out and get us the big boy CNC machine, we definitely are looking to, get one of those this year, or at least 3 of those. Automated desktop milling machines. We're looking to get several of those. Some high-end sensors. Our gardening research project that we're going to be doing requires so on my phone requires sensors, industrial sensors, and they're a little pricey, but I would say simple as that.
You were saying about putting together some 4-foot machine or some sort the other day. I was hearing on your live. What machine were you talking about putting together?
We're gonna make a 4-foot 3D printing 3D printer. I want my phone is acting stupid. Wi-Fi working good. We're gonna take one of these old Enders that we have, change the extruders and possibly the stepper motors in them, make them go as fast as the Bamboos, but make it a 3 to 5 foot tall one, so that way we can print out car parts and large, print. And if we get the first one right, make like 3 of them joints. And next thing you know, we printing all types of stuff. Print the whole bar stool.
So with the nonprofit, does that hinder you from doing merch or ebooks?
No, ebooks is a great idea. Merch is a disaster for me. My brother Dot, he wants to manage it. I know y'all see the sweater. Unless you see me with them in my hand in front of you selling it, I'm sorry, I'm not going to the post office to package one. It is not to sound like it is a lot. Shout out to everybody that does clothing and merch. I don't know how they do it. It's a lot of work. I hate the post office. It's a lot of work. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know how people do it. And those websites, yeah, bro. The websites, they be like, yo, just these websites. The markup be crazy. I'm talking about they charge $40 for a sweater, and then you put $12 on. You charge people $60, $80 for a sweater, and you're only making $13, $14 off the website. So it's really not even. I'm not trying to rob people. You know what I'm saying? Like these sweaters I get from Canal Street, from 28th Street in Manhattan. Most they'll be is like $15. So I can sell this for $30, $40, and it's not bad. Their sweaters start at $40 on most of the websites. On Wix, I think the sweaters start at like literally $45, I think, or $50. So, the markup, you're not even nowhere near a 50% markup in most products on their site. So it's like, I'm cool. And a 50% markup on most of those products and it don't even include shipping. It's like, then this is, that's not cool.
So yes on the ebook, and of course no on the merch.
Yep. Forgive me for being long-winded. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Sometimes.
Nah, Nehru. Check it. Do you have are you ready for the tour to do the walk around, or?
Yeah, my phone is bugging right now. I don't know what's going on. Let me switch to this phone. Let me see. I don't know what's up with my phone. Yeah, my phone bugging. But if you got another question while my phone, right? I don't know what's going on with it.
Okay. So all right. So as being the well intellectually savvy as you are, Nehru, how hard was it when you was in your younger years as a youth coming up, as far as finding your maybe particular tribe or your rhythm?
Oh, it's hard as hell, bro. I was dumb as a nail. I ain't gonna say it like that, but I wasn't. I used to always like kind of upset with my pops for letting me go to public school, because I ain't learned shit in public school except for how to be like a criminal. I ain't gonna lie, like criminology, and then the social element was just real Brooklyn, unnecessary. It was, yeah, it ain't how the children are socialized in my program or even in modern schools now. They removed a lot of I don't know, I can't even say that because the stuff I see online with some of the public schools, like, wow, they still do that. But outside of my parents and some of the people I grew up with, yeah, it was a weird space. I think my pops did a lot, my parents, shout out my parents. I just know that for me to carry on from what he did, I had to be in front of the conversation. I felt like he could have been in front of the conversation. It was just a different era. Maybe the way he did it was to me inspire me to be in front of it the way I am with my children. And like I told them, if this carries on, my grandchildren won't even be a part of the conversation. My son's children will be going to this program, and then their children will be going to our program, and my sons will make sure it carries on. And I'll be long dead and buried underneath somewhere or burnt, whatever, who cares? And it's still working. And so that's the progress and story. But to the original question, I was not really that. I was mechanically inclined, extremely mechanically inclined. However, I was not exposed to enough. So, yeah. And don't
How
let
much?
anybody tell you that nobody's good at math as a child. The teachers suck. And that's why, everybody's good at math if you have a good teacher. I don't allow not one student to say or even to think that they're not good at math. Because I didn't get good at math. I'm talking about algebra and trigonometry. I failed in college, I think 4 times in a row. And then I had to really retrain the way my entire brain was processing the world. And it was like, to say the least. And I just sat down and just said, you have to not do this thing anymore and do this thing here. And that thing was reading the entire math book from the cover to cover, writing every equation down, and just obsessing over it. So it's like, all right, now I can, now I got my butt kicked this year with derivatives, but I haven't been in college in 10 years. So, but I'm ready back this year. I'll be doing some derivatives and linear equations. Look forward to that. And then multivariable calculus. And yeah, I think I got those 3 classes, and yeah, that's as high as math I'm going. I might do an advanced calculus class, but I don't know. But I don't really need it. But yeah.
Word. How much are you incorporating AI in your future endeavors?
Across the board, AI is the weapon of mass everything for humans. And so if Black people don't get involved in it, I would say we've made for the Institute in our projects, I think I can quantify, as you say, we made almost a 10-year leap in this last year. I almost say a 10 to 15-year jump in a year in terms of productivity. Maybe 5. I want to say 10 because I could say 10. So with AI this year, we have to make with us at least a 10-year jump again. It has to be, and I was saying this on my platform yesterday, that the Black community with AI, we have to look at it as a tool to help us jump. We have to jump. In my opinion, the Black community is about 50, internationally speaking, we're maybe about 180 to 100 years behind. And so
I was gonna say that, Nehru. So yeah, did you want to do the tour first?
Well, I could say this and do the tour. Yeah, we about 80 to 100 years behind, technologically speaking. Quantifying the population density of engineers, scientists, to those who aren't, and how long it would take to turn over a certain amount of scientists in our community. Production means of production, scalability and production. But this era is the era where we can jump that with automation technology. The price point changes in material sciences. Now, I was just seeing online the changing pricing on RAM is going to ramp up stuff because of AI. However, if you're on the production side of AI, you can do some stuff. And so for me, I'm completely submerged in how I can use AI to advance the process in every way, you know, and what we're producing, how we're looking at technology, our hands in technology. Everybody should be looking at that from a design component, engineering, like PC. I don't know how far people in the chat go into this stuff, but if you're not making PCB boards, if you're not making circuits, if you're not understanding microcontrollers, LLM on microcontrollers, machine learning, advanced machine learning on microcontrollers, like, yeah, we behind. And so, like, for me, that's my next 3 months is just literally focused on AI, microcontrollers, sensor applications, modeling. Introduce your child to MATLAB. We introduced our students to MATLAB this year, and we used a free version. I'm hoping that we might be able to get a way to get a paid version for all of our students, and so they can really take the abilities with programs like MATLAB, sensor fusion, and the applications with sensors and machine learning to the next level, and being involved in that conversation, even to the point of possibly even making sensors that are actually in the field and collecting data, because we have an electrical engineer on the team who specializes in micro applications. We might be able to do something like that. So it's just, forget might, we have to push ourselves in that conversation. That's just it. You know what I mean? That's it. And AI, and of course the other tools that are available to us in this generation should be the platform that's going to help us get to the edge out that space. STEM, by all measures, is one of the greatest tools to attack the economic wealth gap in the Black community. And so, like, I don't take that light. You know, I want my students, like, I need my students to be making $100,000 a year within a year of leaving our program. If not a year, 3 to 6 months into $80,000, 70, like, that's power. You know, once I know that and I have that locked down, you know, you do the numbers. Every 10 years, we pushing out money. Just look at it. 100 students a year graduating, we're doing numbers. I don't care about grants anymore. I don't care about none of that. All I know is that you see them 100 kids, they all doing $1 million. That's 100 M's. We don't worry about nobody taking care of us. Our students make so much money in the real world. We're funded through our alumni, and that's, you know, for me, a priority with our students. And so that's why making sure their future is 100% set up is my priority. And that creates that sustainability model that takes a while to get to. And, you know, I'm putting my bank and my bucks on that.
Nehru, you like the Black Tony Starks, goddammit. I love it, man. Black Tony Starks, man. For real, man. For real. Whenever you ready, man, we ready for the tour. And yeah, just let however you do your tours, let them know what's going on, how, whatever. You know what I mean? However you do it.
All right, you can switch it. Yo, you can see it? Yo, you see me?
Yeah. Yes. I don't see you as far as your camera's not on. Your camera's not on.
Oh, my camera's on. Yeah, you gotta let me. It's my phone. I'm on my phone.
Okay. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see, because my phone bugging out too. So, okay, bang. Let me see. And okay, it's a dark screen.
All right, you can see me now, right? Here we go.
Nah, I'm not able to see you now. It's a dark screen, unfortunately.
Oh, I see my screen on full screen.
Okay, as long as you can see your screen, it don't even matter what I'm seeing over here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I see it on the screen.
Okay, all right.
I guess ask them in the chat if they can see. So there's the space right here. So you can see the full boom right there. That's the main area. There's a Chadwick Boseman room. We only been in here about 5 months. There's a Huey P. Newton room, learning room. Some of our 3D printers. One of our builder space right here. Environmental engineering room. Here's I love this project. One of the projects I was telling you about the kids working on with the smart cane. I don't know if you can see it still.
Yeah, I'm here now. Let's see. Maximize. Okay, there you go.
Here's a smart cane students are working on for the blind. There's the environmental engineering room. This room's gonna be, it's a wreck right now. We're working on punching
Hold on,
paths.
hold on, hold on. Whoa. Don't just try to blaze past that. You just said a smart cane. That's ingenious, Nehru.
Yeah, that's it right here. That's a smart cane. And it beeps depending on what's on the left or right side of it, in front of it. And we're working on seeing how they can make this actually a product and what sensors they can add to make it, even better. So, see, 3 beeps to the left, 2 beeps to the right, 1 beep in front of it. So real cool, really nice project right there. So they're gonna be entering
Absolutely.
They're gonna be entering that in the science fair this year. This room collects data. So this is some of the industrial kits that we're gonna be installing in gardens. These are what some of the sensors look like, the industrial sensors. These are the classroom models that collect data. It's not plugged in right now, but if I plug this in, it's just a battery. You can pull it up on the website and see all the different points of data that's being collected in there. We have a water monitoring setup. We want to install that into the local rivers. And if you want to actually be a part of that in your city, and if you're near a river, we can actually install, send this to you or show you how to set this up. And you can put yours on our grid and we can collecting data together about whatever region, anywhere in the world, whatever point of data, we can collect any data about the environment. And so that's what this room is completely dedicated to. So anything in the environment, any air, sound, soil moisture monitoring, anything you want to measure in the environment. So this room is completely dedicated to this social justice. This is a huge issue in our community. And most of the time we have to go to white folks to learn about what's going on in our community. And so this is putting us in the forefront and saying, this is us. So we need one of these rooms around the country collecting data so that way we can be the face of where Black people are learning about the environmental issues that's plaguing our community versus just reading about it in some random website that we never even heard of or seen. It's like, no, we know where the data is coming from because we installed the sensors ourselves. These are our 3D printer arrays, plus those over there. This is our open lab engineering space. Most of the younger babies being here. These are some of the popsicle projects. Structural engineering to make trusses, rigid body frames. And then I don't have any machines around. Well, the first level machines that they make. This is the old 3D printers that we're going to be taking apart and actually using it as possibly for parts for the large 3D printer that we're going to be building. That's one of the goals. And then let me turn the light on over here.
This is absolutely exceptional.
There's the main engineering lab. We should name this after somebody. But there's the main engineering lab and automation technology, engineering, robotics, electrical, general electrical. Right now they got the kids focusing on HVAC projects, sensory, condition statement, stuff like that. But they do temperature and they use a MQ sensor for whatever they want to connect volatile compounds, gas, CO2, whatever they want to collect. And then the intake and outtake of the system. They get to make whatever design they wanted for the intake and outtake fans. So that was the whole project they was doing on. And they're still working on that when they come back from the break. That's there. This is an automated bridge, hydraulic bridge. So we teach them to make this without any coded projects.
Good stuff, now. Keep going.
And then they learn how to make this automated, where they push a button and it raises up. This is duct system. So these are industrial ducts that they're actually working on. That you can actually put this in your house if you wanted to get a duct system in your home that's controlled by your phone or something. This is a smart home. We got the smart home projects that they're working on. Has, I think, 3 sensors per floor and 2 fans that run off condition statements. A lot of robotic arms, like robotic arm galore, robotic arms out the hoop. Conveyor belt systems. I could probably plug one of these and let y'all see it. I should have had something plugged in so y'all can see how it works. But everything here works. Like literally, like I can't even explain how none of this was possible where we were a year ago. If you came here a year ago, we were like none of this, the environmental engineering room, none of these projects I was able to do a year ago, nor the physical computing teacher. Every single project in here is done. Like we're tweaking them, figuring out, but every single one. Now we're adding on. What today's Sunday? Saturday. Today's Saturday, right? Yeah. So tomorrow I'm working on this project, and we're gonna be finishing this one up. So this is the events that y'all see in your house. I'm gonna be working on this one with Brother GA, so we can just get the coding down and all of the wiring right. But this will become an IoT project. So we're gonna be showing the kids how to turn your bathroom vents and your lighting systems into IoT projects so they can control it with your phone. There's nowhere in the country you're gonna find programs like this. I'm just being real with you. Like you have to spend a lot of money to find this stuff. I'm just being real with you. And so that goes over to here where we're embedding and we're gonna be developing our general electrical program where they learn how to do 3-way, 2-way switches. They learn how to set up from the panel box. So we're gonna be turning this area here. So anybody wants to donate and be our sponsor I should do a video if you want to be a sponsor for our electrical program. But we're gonna be turning this area into like an electrical practice area right here. And so one side is gonna be residential, one side is gonna be commercial. So one side will have the yellow, just so y'all don't know. So the one side will have yellow wire and the other side will have DX wire, like sort of like this. Both will have either 2 or 4. They don't need 4 breakers, but we'll probably put a 2 or 4 breaker system there just for them to practice running from the breaker, wiring setups and so on and so forth. And then from doing the wiring, what makes our program different, nobody has the IoT and electrical together. So I might as well be talking about that. That's why tomorrow, once I get this project done and don't electrocute myself and get all of it done over here, oh yeah, nobody, there's not a school in Brooklyn or in New York City you can go to, like, yeah, I want my kid to learn how to do IoT with residential, commercial electricity. They're gonna look at you like, man, yep, only us. And then we have our automotive, well, not automotive, but mobile system. So we're gonna be working on, if anybody wants to get involved in this too, just hit us up. We're always looking for nerds to join the team. But automation technology with moving cars and automated guided vehicles. Actually, my son and his partner made this one right here from complete scratch, shock system and everything on it. I'm really proud of this project. That's like so dope. And then they made this one originally off of this design, which they made out of wood, just to be able to show that they really knew what they was doing. So they could make the same car. They made it out of wood, and then they 3D printed and designed it here. Now they're going to be working on another one so that the front can actually have a servo-based steering. And yeah, automated targeting system. Well, I'm not gonna say no more about that. But we got projects. There's so many materials. This right here, I don't know how much money this cabinet is, but this cabinet is like the bulk of our stuff. So I can't even name what we need, but we just got to keep this cabinet and that little area over there in that brown box has to stay filled with stuff. So we need 50 of everything. So, that's when you ask where the donations go. If it's not going to the rent for this place, just to be very clear, you know what I'm saying, or the heat and electricity, which we're doing a utilities party this month, y'all. We're doing a utilities party to help us catch up and stay on top of the bills. So you see the hallway. Beautiful entrance. The name is on the front of the building. It's a step up, and we got, it's a process. We still got the next stage is going to be better than this. Who knows? It might be this year, might be sooner than later, but is what we got right now. We want to keep leveling up. My little office that you'll never see me in. Technically, I'm trying to make my wife have an office, but yeah, that's where we at.
So what do students usually typically start off at? Which room would they usually start off in? Usually,
I mean, this area right here is typically for the younger babies, K through third. So they don't really have to move around too much. This group, depending on the day, it would either be the high schoolers or we group the kids together. So it's 4th through 5th, 6th through 8th, 9th and 10th, and 11th and 12th, depending on the class. The high school kids are grouped together.
okay, cool, Nehru. I mean, I'm ready to wrap it up when you are. What will be your final thoughts? And last question: what advice would you give to your younger self, and what advice would you give to your future self?
Oh, this was fun. Yeah, you hear me?
Absolutely.
Advice to my younger self. Am I still on? Oh. Hello. Advice to my younger self. Study more. You know, I'm not mad at who I am, so I don't think I would change everything for my younger self. I'm pretty cool with who I am. I wouldn't be who I am if I had anything different. So I don't think I could picture changing. I don't know. It would change who I am now. I like the trajectory of where I'm going. So I think everything I did and everything that was in the past led to now, and I'm complacent with what the past. So I'm not, you know, future. Drink water. You know, stay cool, tranquilo. You know what I'm saying? Black power. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? The future self. I'm alive. I'm happy. You know, we hood, bro. If we above water, above ground, and we breathing and healthy, my kids is healthy. Man, listen, Black Power, keep pushing. As long as I ain't
Gratitude. Go ahead, G. Go ahead. Keep going.
As long as I don't start cooning or samboing out, you know what I'm saying? But I already told my kids about that. I start samboing and cooning. Y'all bet y'all already know. You know, take daddy microphone.
All right, Nehru. Gratitude for part 1, man. We definitely got to do a part 2 whenever you're available, and I'm gonna definitely pass this on to the right sources and people that it needs to go to, and the right groups it need to go to. So, what would be your final thoughts, and just let them know again where could they reach you at, and everything else of that nature.
Contact us at info at the XyayX Institute, XyayX Institute, or info at XyayX the Movement, XyayX Movement. Message to you: stay focused. You are the potential that you want to be, long as you invest into it now. And let's connect, let's push. All we got is us. All we need is Black Power.
Peace, God. Gratitude, man. Go ahead and get you some rest, man, and some balance, some herbal tea, and all that great stuff, G.
Oh, yeah,
peace, King.
Baby, I'm just being calm. I'm about to hit these streets. You already know. I'm just being calm for the I'm trying to be calm in the interviews and stuff.
Yeah. I know what it is, Nehru.
Right after this, baby. It's up. You already know.
No doubt. Let me go and turn the music up, man. Gratitude, man. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it. I'm gonna leave this up. Peace, King. We got part 2 coming up, y'all. That was Q Butter, man. That's the person I was bragging about. I speak highly of. Peace and abundance. Make sure you reach out to him. He gave you the email. Make sure you check out his Instagram. He's on IG as well. That's how you spell the Institute. Y'all see what it is. You see where the donations are going. So make sure you donate. Salute to Royals United. We will be reaching out in collaboration with Q Butter as well. And salute to everyone for sharing this and being patient through the whole process and the tour. So guess what? CozMik UV.